Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here we are, we're going to recap round 17 of the AFL and also do our round 18 tips as well at the end of the video. So this week I got 6 out of 9 and the old man got 7 out of 9, so he's getting a pretty handy lead on me. So I'm going to have to start going a bit crazy. But let's have a little look at what happened last week. Also, if you like the channel, please like and subscribe. And also make sure you go over to Flash Crow and also show him some love as well. So we had a really good game at the MCG. I think that was on the Thursday, last Thursday. So Richmond had a really gutsy win against the Swans. I think either team could have won that, but Richmond were just a bit too classy in front of goal. So good win by Richmond to keep their hopes alive, and also just to uh, help their new coach with maybe getting that as a full-time position. So good for Richmond. Swannies are off. Good win by Collingwood against the gutsy Bulldogs, who just ran out of class in the end. Collingwood again, just too many easy goals, too much too much run for the Bulldogs, and Bulldogs have got a bit of a problem about letting in goals from their defensive 50. They don't work out hard enough in their forward line. I think they're a little bit too tall, so maybe a bit of a shake up for the Bulldogs and get a couple of smaller players just to put some pressure on the other team's backmen. Lions touched up the West Coast Eagles as they should have. 81 points again, which is about the mark that I think you need. These better teams, you've got to win by at least 10 goals against West Coast Eagles, otherwise you're not up to the chop. Giants had a really good win against Hawthorn. Giants actually playing all right. I think they've had four wins out of 5 or something the last 5 weeks, so they're going along quite nicely. And then Melbourne had a good win against St Kilda. Not that I rate it. I don't rate St Kilda. I can't see them making the 8. Melbourne have still got that same problem where they just can't score a goal. 79 points is not good enough. They haven't kicked over 100 points. I think they've only kicked 100 points 2 times this season, which is not good enough for a team with so much talent. Port absolutely destroyed the Suns in the third quarter. I think they kicked 9 goals to 1 or something like that. But again, Port just keep going along doing what they're doing. Got a really good gutsy team. Powell, Pepper, and Rosie, and Butters, they're all flying. Dixon had a really good game. Alir just keeps intercepting marks. He does cheat. He pushes everyone in the back and they don't pay it, so he just does it. But at some point they're going to have to turn around and go, you just can't do that. But that's what's happening in the game at the moment. Geelong had an easy win against North Melbourne, as expected, down at LGBTQ Community Centre. So North are hapless. If there wasn't West Coast in the competition, North would have all the heat on them. Then the shock loss, Essendon defeated the Crows. Crows don't seem to be able to win away from home at the moment. Essendon, I've been saying for about 6 weeks that Essendon are a little bit sneaky, and they proved it again. They look fantastic when they get going. Again, defensively, they've got to do a little bit better, particularly in the forward line. Who's their star gun? Jake. He needs to lift, whatever his name is. Their Degoe guy. He needs to lift. He needs to start doing more. But Essendon are looking good. Running up to the finals, starting to get some form, starting to get some belief, which is great. Fremantle absolutely pathetic. I can't believe I picked them. I did say whoever played well would win by 6 goals. So if Carlton played well, they'll win by 6 goals. If the Dockers played well, they'll win by 6 goals. So I wouldn't be reading too much into Carlton at the moment. I know everyone's saying they're back, they're back, they're back, but I can't see it. All right, let's have a look at our ladder. So we've still got Collingwood flying on top with 14 wins, Port Adelaide with 14 wins, looking great. I'd like to see both Collingwood or Port Adelaide have a loss just to sharpen them up, before finals. I know losing is never good, but sometimes when you've got a really good team, just losing a game, the coach can go in there and say, see what happens, and it really can help your team. Lions are hanging on there to third. They're 2 games behind, 1 and 2. Then Melbourne 2 games behind. Essendon, St Kilda, Western Bulldogs and Geelong snuck back into the 8 again this week. I did a bit of a predictor, so just to sort of see we're getting close to the end of the year. So basically what I did was I didn't try to use what my opinion is. I just picked the lowest team. So wherever they were on the ladder, I just picked the lower team. And so at the end of the year, we've got Collingwood, Port, Lions, Melbourne still holding the top 4. We've got St Kilda hanging on to 5, Essendon coming into 6, Bulldogs into 7, and Adelaide just scraping in to the 8. But if you have a look, there's 3 games difference between Bulldogs and Adelaide. So that's just if for the next 7 rounds, every team who is the favourite or should be the favourite will win. Interesting, Geelong is down at 12th, Carlton at 13th, Suns at 14th, and Sydney at 15th. So we've got a situation where we've got, the 2 grand finalists not even anywhere near the 8. Sydney with 26 points and Geelong only with 38 points. So that's interesting. So there's a couple of good games that need to happen for my team. So this one against the Magpies still doesn't change anything. And so basically the Lions have to go all the way through now and just keep winning until they make it to the grand final. All right, so let's go to round 18. So another good round of football, some really flip of the coin matches. So we've got Sydney against Western Bulldogs tomorrow night. All right, this is a warning game for the Bulldogs. I know Sydney aren't playing as well as that they have been in the past, but Bulldogs have still got this same problem. They're struggling to score and they're struggling to defend. I also saw that Bailey Smith they say that he's having an emotional leave, but I think he was dropped. I think he's a little bit disheartened by the way that they're playing him. I think he had 2 touches to 3/4 time last week, and then they finally put him in the middle and he had about 8 touches in about 4 seconds, which is where you should be playing him. So yeah, warning game here for the Bulldogs, but I think the Bulldogs are still a better team than Sydney, but it is at the SCG. So I'm going to go the Bulldogs. I just think that the Swans are lacking a little bit at the moment, but I'm going to go the Western Bulldogs in a tight one. Let's go by 2 goals. Then we go to the MCG, another massive match here for both teams. So this is really important for the makeup of the finals. So if you swap these games around, it changes everything in the predictor. But I'm a Lions supporter. I think we're going to beat Melbourne. Melbourne is struggling to score as well. They've taken Petrarca up to full forward now. So they don't have Oliver. They don't have Petrarca in the middle. I know they've still got a lot of handy players in the midfield. They've got an awesome back line. But our forward line is playing quite well at the moment. I think if we can get it done in the middle, we should account for Melbourne quite easily. Collingwood against Fremantle. I don't even have to think about this one. Right, Collingwood should absolutely flog Fremantle. Fremantle are absolutely hopeless, and I'm never ever going to pick them ever again for the rest of my life, like I say every week. Now, this is an interesting game with Stewie Dew being sacked yesterday. So, the Suns against St Kilda. I don't rate St Kilda. They've now lost Ben King as well. They can't kick goals unless they kick them in the centre, in the square. They just can't kick a goal from anywhere from 20 metres out. So we all know about the coach killer. So new coaches. I don't know why the players fire up for them, but let's go the Suns in an upset against St Kilda. It is at home. It's at Carrara. So Suns to upset St Kilda. Carlton, Port Adelaide. All right, now this might be crazy. Yes, it is crazy. I'm not going to do it. Port to keep going, but it is at Marvel. All right, can the two forwards get on top of Port's backline? Because Port are a bit struggling at the moment. They're winning over expectation. They've got a lot of injuries, and I think they're relying so much on about 3 or 4 players. So, but their backline's vulnerable. Dixon is he starts the game 5 minutes and then he's hobbling around. At the end of the game, he looks like an 80-year-old man. So let's go. We'll go. Fuck it. We'll go for an upset with Carlton to beat Port, and just to put a bit more spring into Port Adelaide's step. Geelong Cats Essendon, warning game here for Geelong. It is at LGBTQ plus community centre. Essendon are playing well, Geelong aren't. They're having some real issues themselves, Geelong. They just don't look the same team. So I'm going to go the Bombers for another upset for a rare win at GMHBA Stadium. I know they're extremely difficult to beat down there, but if Essendon can play like they did last week, they're going to give the Cats a real good look. Adelaide against GWS, Adelaide Oval. So you would assume that Adelaide will beat them there. Didn't Adelaide and GWS just play recently? Seems a bit strange. So anyway, Adelaide to beat GWS. They should account for them. North Melbourne, Hawthorn. Okay, interesting game. It's at Marvel on the Sunday. Hawks are hit and miss. They beat us 2 weeks ago. Then they've been absolutely thumped, and then they played it right last week. Well, I think Sicily's back, so every time Sicily plays, Hawks win. So we'll go Hawthorn there. And then the last one, Richmond to touch up West Coast Eagles at home. The West Coast Eagles did put up a bit of a fight 2 weeks ago, but then they got absolutely hammered by the Lions. So there we go, guys. So another interesting round of football. Bulldogs, Lions, Collingwood, Suns, Carlton, Essendon, Adelaide Crows, and Hawthorn and Richmond. I'll also leave flashcards tips as well. And then at the end of the video, I'll put them all together and tally up our total score so far. So hopefully you have a good weekend. Hopefully your team wins. Good luck with everything. And we'll catch you in the next one. See you then.